As a general rule, I tend not to comment on incidents that happen in fighters' personal lives unless I think there's a good chance it will have a significant impact on their boxing career. And that is the case, in this case, with Gervonta Davis, because he was recently arrested over an alleged domestic incident putting his planned fights with Hector Luis Garcia and Ryan Garcia in jeopardy. Now, this isn't the first time, of course, that Tank Davis has been involved in controversy outside the ring. Isn't the first time he's had scrapes with the law, and perhaps it won't be the last, because Davis is from a certain background and he appears to still have other people from that background in his life. And I'm not making any excuses from him here. I don't know the details of the situation, right? The exact details. But what I can tell you in a general sense is that when you come from a rough environment and you keep a lot of the people around you, whether they're men or women, from those environments, as you progress in life, it's often the case that they can drag you back down into that energy, all right? The ghetto mentality, they can drag you back down into that. Is that the case with Gervonta Davis? And hypothetically speaking, again, I'm not saying this is the case with him, but if you have a baby mom who's ratchet, expect trouble. Okay, just expect trouble. I'm not saying that's the case with the young lady who's making the allegations here, but just in general. Now, Tank Davis did an interview that I found very interesting recently, where he said that he ain't trying to be in this for too much longer, meaning he's not trying to box for too much longer. That's an extraordinary thing for a 28-year-old unbeaten fighter to say, because he hasn't had any defining fights. This isn't like someone who's got a star-studded record where he's fought all these Hall of Famers. And no, this is a guy who's yet to have a defining fight against a Ryan Garcia or a Devin Haney or a Shakur Stevenson, etc. I mean, even Gary Russell was calling him out, a while ago. He hasn't had any of these fights, and yet he's already thinking about retirement. Gervonta Davis, we could say a lot of things about him. I've said a lot of things about him in the past. Troubled individual, if you want to be diplomatic. If you want to be less diplomatic, you could say he's an idiot, right? But whatever the case may be, his boxing career thus far has been a disappointment to me. Remember, this is a guy who became world champion at a young age. What was he, 23, 22? When he first became world champion? What has he done since? Mayweather and Ellaby have guided him very carefully. They haven't just let him off the leash and let him fight anybody. No, they guided him very, very carefully, picking the right fights at the right time. But where Mayweather was guided in that way, and he ended up with star-studded names on his record, even if some of them or many of them were past their best, they're still there. With Tank Davis, they're not there. Who is on his record? He's got, Yuriorkis Gamboa, who was totally shot. God, I forget who else he's got on there, but there are not many names in terms of, elite guys or former elite guys. So, yeah, I just find it really odd. I think he's a troubled person. That's how it appears to be. And maybe he's already all long fallen out of love with boxing. And I always found it troubling that earlier on in his career, I'm not sure if he still does now, he associated himself with Adrian Broner. Because to me, Davis has got a much higher ceiling than Adrian Broner. But Broner was this kind of clown prince of boxing, the world star boxer. He was more of like a pop culture meme rather than a serious fighter after a certain point in his career. When he was back down at like super featherweight, lightweight, Broner was a problem back down at those weights. But the further he moved up in weight, the less serious he was as a fighter. And yeah, the more of a world star kind of meme he became. Anyway, I never liked Davis associating with a guy like that. See, I spoke about the type of company you keep. And Davis coming from a certain background and keeping, ratchet people around him, and they drag you into ratchet situations. Broner's an example. I mean, I don't know whether Gervonta Davis knew Broner growing up. I don't think he did. Isn't Davis from Baltimore, or am I getting it twisted? And Adrian Broner's from Cincinnati, so I can't imagine they knew each other growing up. But yeah, they formed some kind of alliance, which I always thought was a little troubling for a young fighter like Gervonta Davis with so much talent. You don't want to be aligning yourself with a clown like Broner. You want to be moving with people who are serious, who are going to rub off on you in a good way. So that's my take on it. Let me know your take in the comments below. Do you think this will jeopardize the Ryan Garcia fight? Will it not happen because of this? Now, obviously, Ryan Garcia recently decided to forego a tune-up fight because he was originally supposed to have a tune-up, but he said, nah, you know what? I just want to go straight into the Tank Davis fight. Tank Davis actually criticized him for it. Well, I think Ryan Garcia could well criticize Tank Davis for this situation here, jeopardizing their fight by allegedly putting hands on somebody. Let me know what you guys think.